Hello, everyone. Greetings from Köln, Germany, and from Kharkiv, Ukraine. And this channel, we talk about international dating, about matchmaking. We discuss dating mistakes. We share dating tips. My name is Svetlana Mucha. I'm the founder and the leading matchmaker and dating coach at Diolli.com. And together with me is our executive director, Diolli.com executive director, Katerina Romanenko. So we have two Cupids, real Cupids on board. And in this video, we want to talk about people, about singles who are actually single, not in a relationship, but they believe that they know it all and they feel that they can actually share dating tips and advice. In Russian and Ukrainian languages, we have this saying, so-called sofa expert. What does it mean? Not a person who is very good at cleaning or maybe designing sofas. No, it is a person who actually lies on his sofa or on his couch and watches the TV or YouTube all day long and believes that because he is so experienced in watching the shows or in watching the news or in reading articles, he knows it best. So such a coach expert or sofa expert, a person who spends lots of time like sitting or lying on that couch and sofa and sharing his opinion in the comments below some videos or in their discussions on Facebook or somewhere on Quora. We will talk about such people, but in the context of dating, of course.
Hello, everyone. I'm also happy to make this new episode for you. And really, it's very common, to be honest, saying in our culture, we call such people sofa experts. And sofa experts, they can be in different fields. So they can touch different topics. But today, we want to discuss really this dating sofa experts. And usually, they think that they are very good at psychology, they're very good in general in relationships. So if they want, they would have it even tomorrow, but it's just not a right time in their life to have this relationship or to date someone. But the minute they decide to have someone in their life, it will immediately appear in their lives.
I'll give a real example, Katerina. Like not so long ago, I have conducted this interview with a potential client, and he shared with me his like dating history. So he's been married twice. Both marriages lasted about, I think, 5 and then 3 years, and then he had a brief relationship after that. And he has dated women of exactly the same type. So when I have asked him about his divorces, like the reasons why did he get a divorce, pretty much he has named same reasons. So he works for a big IT company. He is a programmer, successful financially. So he has worked for big names, and so you can call him well off. He has bought some properties as well that he rents out. So he is okay. This is a Ukrainian and Russian-speaking man, and he lives in Barcelona, I think, for last 5 or 7 years. Anyway, like all his wives and his ex-girlfriend, they all were housewives. They don't have kids, so pretty much they were like stay-at-home wives. How do you call it? And he said that, you know what, like they were so pretty, they took really good care of themselves, but it was really like there is no connection because you didn't have much to talk about. Like he had a long working day and she was just like taking care of her lashes or taking care of her nails. Like they were going out a lot to like dine out because he worked the last several years from home. Like he had a home office, so they went dining out. So there was no need to actually cook. And they had a special company come and clean the apartment. So his ex-wives, they didn't need to clean anything. And he wanted to have children, like his first ex-wife and then the second one. They wanted to have them, but maybe in 10 years, because they wanted to enjoy life while they were young. And the man, she had a different opinion. And again, his girlfriend, he said that I've asked him, like, you have been together for almost 3 years. Why didn't this relationship end up with marriage? And he said that, you know what, I've realized that I'm dating my ex-wife again. So she has similar interests, similar vision about relationship, about everything. And one can tell that, okay, this guy has a problem. He has chosen the wrong type. So what he's choosing and what he wants, it's quite opposite. And you see it after like talking to him for like 30 minutes. But the problem is he thinks that he knows it all because he is meeting so many people, and he is getting he's getting his MBA now, so he's learning all the time, and he worked for big companies in different countries. He worked in the US, he worked in the UK, so he considers himself to be really cosmopolitan, to be worldly. Yes, and in a way he is, but when it comes to women, you can't call his approach really smart, because like 3 times to fall for the wrong type, to choose the wrong type, to actually marry the wrong type twice, to experience divorce and not to learn your lesson. And the funny thing is, when we were conducting this interview, like every second or third phrase is like, I'm really good at reading people. I'm really good at analyzing people. I have this analytical type of mind. So I'm really good at telling if she is with me because of my money or not. So I can tell it straight away. And then he tells me like, oh, I have read like these 3 books about relationships. So I'm really good at understanding female psychology. If you are so good at understanding female psychology, how come 3 times in a row you have chosen women who don't want to have kids? Now you want to have kids, who don't want to have a job, and you have already been there in your first marriage. You understand that if a woman doesn't have a job, well, you don't have kids, she doesn't have to do much for the household. It's very complicated because she gets bored, she wants your attention, and you're very busy. So it's hard to maintain this type of relationship. If you have read those books, why are you falling for the same mistakes?
Yes, I agree with you. I also don't understand that. And, in general, many things that happen in our life, they can be successful or not. But anyway, every person whom we meet, or all relationship that we build, they give us the priceless experience. So even if you didn't marry this lady, if you were not in a long-term relationship, but if you spend some time together, you always can make conclusions from this relationship. You always can understand yourself better. You can work on your dating strategy. So it's so priceless, this experience that you get. You just have to build the right attitude to it, and to really to make these conclusions. So that's why we meet different people. That's why we build different relationships. And it's so strange, and really it's a pity when a person is repeating the same mistakes, but he thinks that he knows it the best, and he knows how to do it in the best way, and he doesn't do any conclusions. So it's really why you have spent these several years on this relationship, just to move on and to repeat the same scenario with the next person. So really, to be honest, he is dating the same type of lady, from lady to lady, from relationship to relationship. So he continues to choose the same type of person, but he doesn't make any conclusions. So to be honest, he's wasting his time, and he's wasting.
That's a pattern. And it happens quite often. Like I had several other interviews with men, late 30s, early 40s, and they are adamant to date only women in their 20s. And you talk to them and they say that probably the age gap is too different, because like, I get it, like she is fun, she is young, she is pretty, but we are like on totally different pages in life. and sometimes she acts so juvenile. One moment she seems to be so mature, the next moment she acts like a child, like she throws these tantrums. And he tells you all this, and then he tells you, I want to date someone in her 20s. But you have just described to me all the problems. You have been there, like you have dated a bunch of ladies in their 20s. Why did those relationships end up? Well, because she was so immature and she wanted things I didn't want, and she didn't want things that I wanted. And we are on a totally different pages in our life, different stages. But I still want to date someone in her 20s. So, of course, such scenarios. And one guy, he told me that I did therapy. Like I did therapy, I talked to a psychologist. And what did a psychologist tell you? Well, a psychologist told me to look someone who is has similar values, someone who is closer to me in age, and to avoid women in their early 20s, because again, I will be heartbroken. I will invest time, money, and lots of efforts, and will end up with nothing. And what type of a woman do you want to date? Oh, someone in her early 20s. You have worked with a psychologist. Now you consider hiring a matchmaker. As a matchmaker, after talking to you, I understand that you are 39. You want to have kids like a sub, because you believe that, okay, if you have kids in 2 years, when your children will graduate from high school, you will be almost in your 60s. So like it's really, you are catching the last train here. That's the way a gentleman describes it, that he is doing it later in life, not like he has planned. But I want to date someone in her 20s. But why did you break up with a girl in her 20s? The last one you have dated. Oh, she was with me just for my money. Like I have realized that, because then I was not sponsoring what she wanted. She paid less attention. She was really frustrated. She was very demanding. And also she didn't want to have kids because she was afraid to ruin her beauty. And again, you want to go there. And then he sends me some links to some psychologist or a YouTuber, I don't know who that guy is, who talks about women value, that women in their 30s lose their appeal and their value. It's so crazy to hear it from a guy, middle-aged guy, who tries to hide his thinning hair behind the bandana, and who's talking about women value. Like, really? So sometimes people have such totally unrealistic expectations, and they believe they know it all. And you know what? Usually such people at the end, they lose. Because when you start working, for example, I right now work with several ladies as coaching clients. And you know what? First of all, why have I decided to take them over as coaching clients? Because they are open to learn more. Yes, they did dating mistakes, and they see that something is not working. Like their approach is not working. I have to change something if I want to get new results. And they are very open to new information, open to try it new ways, open to try to date different type of men to get new results, open to change themselves. With some male clients, our matchmaking clients, we do the same. So we always add coaching into the mix, and they really do try new things. But with some men and with some women too, they believe they know it all. Like a lady was telling our psychologist Alessia during the interview that she knows she has to date younger. Like she's 55, and she has read this article somewhere, it was Cosmopolitan or whatever, that nowadays men prefer to date older women. So Alessia, look at that article, you have to read it. So, and you have to find me like a much younger man, and he has to be in his late 30s, early 40s top. He has to be very tall, he has to be financially very successful, and he has to be like a really good lover, better an exotic lover, because hey, Cosmopolitan is writing that younger men prefer older women. And when our psychologist Alessia tried to tell her that within the last 15 years that we have been doing matchmaking, never ever we had a client who would approach us, pay for our service, and ask us to find him an older woman, someone who's like 15 years older. That it never happened. She was like, really? That's so strange.
It's a pity that people mix up marketing with real life. So if you see such an article there, you have to assume that the first reason why it was published is because they wanted to attract your attention to it.
Katerina, or maybe it was written by a woman in her 50s who really believes that she is such a catch for a much younger man, and she wants to popularize this idea.
And I like that the example of French president, yes, Emmanuel Macron. All people know that he's married to a lady. She was his teacher in the past, but people forget that she gave.
He was in the same class. He was in the same class with her child. I don't remember, son or daughter.
Yes, and but people forget that he built his career on her money. So she's from a very rich family, and she gave him everything, his profession, education, position that he has now. So everything was given by her. She's extremely rich.
So not just an average school teacher.
Yes, her family, yes, her parents, her family, they have this so-called old money, and they helped him to build his career. So he's a president thanks to her. And people forget this part. Ladies, they like to mention their age difference, but forget the part of financial interest in their relationship.
That's a minor detail, Katerina.
Yes, very small. Let's forget about it. And also, it looks very strange when people
maybe this lady think that she's just like Madame Macron sends the money. So why not? She has a similar haircut. So why not? Why can't she date someone 25 years younger?
And especially if he's so famous as president, as a French president, then why not? It's a pity that such people, these sofa experts, they like to play psychologists, and really they have read several psychological books. They subscribed on some YouTube channels where psychologists.
Sometimes not the best books. Sometimes the books that they have read, like they were published in the 90s or 80s, and the world has changed so much. So yes, the books were good when they were published, but you know what? They were published prior to Facebook, Tinder, Match.com, prior to everything, prior to the lockdown. So you can read them as like stories from the 80s and 90s. You can't really apply the tips that were shared there in 2020 plus.
And let's be honest, even modern books, we have a lot of books that are not the best ones. So people who write them, not all authors who publish books, they're really good experts. So you have to know what to read. And people forget that psychologist is a profession. So it's something you can't become a psychologist just finished when you just finish 2 or 3 months courses. No, it's a profession. People are studying to become a psychologist for 5 years at university.
And also there can be good psychologists and not really good psychologists. I have attended this event for psychologists in France, and you know what? There are tons of single women there, and like they are professional psychologists. They work with people, so they have their license. But after talking to some of them, I understand that they should first sort out what is going on in their lives. Because the question number one, when they have learned that I do dating coaching, was, can you check my Tinder? Can you please check if my photos are good? Can you please look at the photo of this guy? And many women, also late 50s, they were so adamant to date younger because they believe they have this cool profession, they are so sexy, they are so popular. So they can be perhaps really good in their profession when they work, for example, with a group. They do like group psychologist, group coaching, or one-on-one psychology. But when it comes to dating, they are totally unrealistic. For example, one woman was using photos taken 10 years ago when she was like 20 kilos slimmer, and she uses those photos on Tinder, and she told me that no, men never see the difference. Like, really, you don't even look like those pictures. Like, 20 kilos, 10 years, you have different haircut, you look like a totally different person. No, men never notice the difference. They disappear after the first date because they are scared of a strong woman. Like facepalm. And she's a psychologist.
Yeah, so not every psychologist is a good expert, but what if we are talking about just these sofa experts? They just can't be a good psychologist. They can't be experts if they have never learned this profession, because it's a serious profession. After graduating of the university, you have to get a good practice also to become a good psychologist. So many factors are included into it. How can you sit on your sofa and thinking that you're a good psychologist? You understand everyone. You can judge any person from this is my favorite, from how the person is posing on the photo, how he or she is behaving on the video. It's impossible to say about character, because people, they can have different moods, they can behave differently in front of camera. When they start to judge this simple but really very deep things, it looks not serious. So people who are smart, intelligent, they will not take you seriously when you say it. So how can you think that sitting on the sofa and watching videos on YouTube you can become a really good psychologist? It's like I don't know, it's a secret for me. I don't understand how people think like that. And really, even if you have ever tried in your life, if you tried to hire a psychologist, you will know that it can be that the first person will be not your specialist. Maybe it will be not a good specialist, or just not your person. So it's like a very difficult task to find a good psychologist who suits you, with whom you feel comfortable. It's really complicated. But people decided after watching 10 videos, they become really good psychologists. They understand everything in relationship. I think you remember also we had such situation with one lady. She was a professional photographer, and she made some photos of ladies, and we know that if sometimes if our female clients, they wanted to take really good pictures, they contacted this lady, and
we can recommend a photographer. We don't do professional photo shoots for our database member, but when they ask, we give them tips and directions which type of photos we need to add them into our database.
And in the beginning, this lady, she really made good photos. From her photos, you can say that she really likes women, because she knows how to make these beautiful photos, how to make them feel comfortable. But after that, she also has decided that she's not only a photographer, she's a good psychologist, and she started to give them advices. What kind of
that was terrible.
Yes, what kind of photo you have to put on your Tinder profile? What kind of kind of clothes you have to put on in your life in general, or on this photo? So she started to give such recommendations and advice. It looked really strange, and in the end, she lost all her clients. Because they didn't want to hear such things from a photographer. It's not her profession. So why people start to play these really difficult professions like psychologist or even psychiatrist, and give recommendations to other people? It looks strange. It never lead to success. You have to understand that. So if you feel in yourself this desire to become a psychologist, that you think that you understand this field really well, and you also can become a psychologist, it's a red flag to go to a really good psychologist and to think why you need
signal.
Yes, it's a signal that you have to think about your behavior and why you have decided that you are a psychologist. So these sofa experts, they are not only strange, but they can be dangerous sometimes. So don't become this sofa expert yourself, please, and think
from
about.
time to time, we all love to play like sofa experts, so-called sofa experts. For example, you watch the show and you're like, no, you should have chosen another actresses, or you should have chosen another ending for this show. Or when people discuss politics, like in Russian and Ukrainian languages, we have this joke that it's such a pity, it's such a shame that people that are so good at politics already are occupied as nail artists or pedicurists and taxi drivers, because usually when you, for example, call an Uber or call a taxi, like the guy who drives you, he knows everything about politics, and probably he has a business, a really big and promising business, but at the moment that's a side hustle for him because he just loves people, and this is why he had the side hustle as a taxi driver. I think the problem with psychologists and also with our married friends who love sharing dating tips and advice is that married people, they have been out of the dating market for years. And the way they have met their spouses, probably in their late teens, early 20s, right after the university, what worked for them then doesn't apply to the modern dating market now, because there was no Tinder in that time. And when you are in your 20s, one thing works for you. When you are in your 30s and 40s, for example, in your 20s, he has asked you out to a dorm party, and your first date was a party in the dorm, and you were drinking cheap wine, and he played the guitar, and you were smitten. But now, if you can you really give dating tips how to meet a husband, how to build a relationship to a woman who is, for example, 35 years old, or to a guy who is 35 years old? Or, for example, the guy tells that don't spend money on your date because, look, when I was courting my wife, I didn't have any money at all. We were students, so I have taken her for walks. We walked in the parks, we walked down the river, so we did like walking, and I didn't buy her a single gift prior to our engagement. But you were 20, she was 20. Like your 35 male friend, 35 years old male friend, if he tries to apply your strategy, for example, he asks out a 35 years old woman, not to the coffee shop, we're not talking about the restaurant right now, and he tells it, we will take walks with you. I'm not buying you anything, because like love, it's not materialistic. I will be single.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I absolutely agree with you that something that works when you are 20 is not the same that works when you are 30 or 40. So it's true that sometimes, and of course, we have friends, all people, they have friends, and it's true that with some people we feel more comfortable, and sometimes we like to share some personal moments from our life with them, and really we can have a desire to hear a recommendation, and it's totally fine. It's one of the reasons why people have friends, because they can discuss different situations, they can get some recommendation, or they can give some recommendations from time to time. But don't mix it up a good friendship when you trust each other with a professional help when sometimes people really need it. So you can have advice from your friend or a co-worker if you're really close, but it's nothing to do with some serious changes in your life. Such person can't build a dating strategy instead of you. Such person can't tell you what you are doing wrong from a professional side. So the biggest art is to ask yourself right questions, and really really good specialists, really good psychologists, they know how to ask you in the correct way. Even if your friend is the smartest person in your life, but he's not a professional psychologist, he will not help you in this. He can give you a friendly recommendation, he can say his opinion, or you can do it for him when he needs it, but it's not a professional help. Don't mix it up. It can be like a good addition to the help that you get in your life in general. So when someone supports you, it's very important, but it can be like instead of this professional help when you really need it. So you have to analyze it in the right way. And really, it's great that you have friends or people in your life. Maybe it can be relatives, maybe sometimes even parents, whom you trust, whom you respect, and who can give you good recommendations. But it's not a professional help. Your dating strategy and your relationship can't be built only on these recommendations that you get from them. If you think that something goes in the wrong way, of course, if everything goes smoothly in your life, it means that you have met your person, that you understand each other. And if you don't
Katerina,
have this...
even couples that really have chosen each other for all the right reason, very often from time to time they need help, like talking to a therapist, talking to a psychologist, because life is stressful. I wanted to add one thing really quickly before we wrap it up, because we try to keep our videos shorter than 1 hour. By the way, please write in the comments below what is the best length, the best size, in your opinion, of our videos when we do such discussions, because we try to make videos that I film solo, and they are usually shorter, with videos that I film with Katerina or with Alyssa, our psychologist, that we try to make longer. I wanted to add one thing, that sometimes our friends really, when they share a dating tip or dating advice, perhaps they don't try to play a so-called sofa expert, but they try to be a good friend. So, for example, if the guy or a girl disappears after the first or second date, our friends tell us that it's him or it's her. Like, of course, it's not you. It's about her. Like, obviously, she was just about money, or she was just with you because she wanted to eat out. So after the second date, this is why she has ghosted. So she is a bad person. For example, girls tell to their friends that definitely it's him. Like, from the very first moment, like you showed me his photo, I could tell that he was not serious. And the problem can be deeper. Like, the guy might have disappeared because a woman has decided to ask him to go to her apartment after the first date. Or, for example, because she has asked a stupid question, a question that you can't ask on the first date. Or, for example, because the whole date she was sharing some stories that were a turn off for a guy. Or a guy, he was not flirty, he was not attentive during the date, or he was sharing too much information with her. And this is why the lady has decided not to go out with him on the third or a second date. So our friends, they tell us all these things to cheer us up, to make us feel good, but they don't help you see the root of the problem. And this pattern that you have already built, dating pattern, you will continue it. You will fall for same mistakes. So accepting some critique tips from our friends, from so-called software experts, like people who believe that, oh, I can blog about dating because I have worked in sales for so many years. Well, if you understand that, well, not every YouTube channel or not every dating book about dating is a good one or is up to date, you can watch that, because you can find some really good advice on YouTube, dating related, and there are some really good blogs about psychology. But critical thinking should be there. And also having a big circle of friends, like all this support, it's a good thing. But it's not a substitution to professional help, to a dating coach or to a psychologist.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with you that usually our close people, they tell us what we want to hear. So they are...
Or what is traditional to say in this situation?
Their opinion, it won't be objective. It's a subjective one. So, but when you have something that repeats in your life and you feel that something goes wrong, you have to contact a professionalist and not listening to those sofa experts, and don't become a sofa expert yourself. It's very important.
We want to wish you lots of love. Now is the time to press like. Please share in the comments below if you have watched this video till the very end. Probably you agree with us or disagree with us, or you have been in a situation when you have used a dating tip from a so-called software expert, or you have acted like one. Maybe you can share a story. Also, if you want to get access to more content that we film, especially for our sponsors, there are more videos that myself and Katerina filmed together. please consider becoming a sponsor and support our channel. It's just a few dollars per month, but you will get access to additional content and you will get cute stickers. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel because twice per week we share with you new videos with practical dating tips and advice for over 8 years already. So there is lots of content to watch. And of course, we also have a podcast. So if you like to listen to us real cupids talking about love and dating with cute accents, you can go there. And of course, your likes, your subscription, and your comments, they inspire us to continue filming new content for you. If you want to book a first free consultation, matchmaking consultation with a matchmaker, you can contact us by pressing the link below this video or sending us an email, Diolli.com or Diolli.com, or you can actually book a real 1 hour long consultation and we will go thoroughly through your dating experience, your dating patterns, and discuss how to improve it. I want to wish everybody love. Katerina, thank you for this fantastic discussion. It's always such a treat to film videos with you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.